Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to my newest episode of my Filmmaker interview series that I have. Today, I'm joined by David Liz, who is the director of an upcoming film called The Welder. Thank you so much for being willing to come on and talk about this film with me. I'm really excited.
Oh, my pleasure, Angel. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and given this opportunity to be out on your platform to chat a little bit about The Welder. That's coming very, very soon. I'm so excited about that. And, this film has been such a journey, such an incredible journey. With so many things happening along the way. So it's like I want to talk about the movie, but I also want to talk about the journey because it was
the journey. Labor of love, I assume.
Definitely a labor of love and like a dream fulfilled. I've been wanting to make a feature film for over 10 years.
Wow.
After I graduated film school, I wanted to, like, that's the first thing I wanted to do. But I was a poor kid from a poor part of Miami. We don't come from money or anything like that. So we had to like work and save up and make contacts and just grow in the business before we were able to get to the point where we were able to actually make a film. So it's just a dream come true for me, really.
So I actually connected with you through Scott, which my viewers probably know because we have a series that we do called we do horror remakes. We have a complete collaboration that we do with that. But Scott had actually, I think, connected us, but he had reached out to me and was like, all about this movie, all about talking to you. He was like, Angel, like, you've got to talk to this guy. You need to, like, this is a conversation you would love to have. Like, if he's willing to let you see the movie, or like, he was like, just praise. And I was like, I'm all about supporting indie in general. It doesn't matter. That's books, any form of like movies, films, shorts, games, whatever. If it's indie, I'm in it. Like, I'm ready to support and be a part of it. So I was really excited when he connected, especially because he's like, he's really picky about movies. Like, he's kind of a brat about movies. And so when he had such great things to say, I was like more than a little intrigued. So,
I love Scott that was so much. Scott and Mark have been such friends to me, to amazing. The movie. I'm just like so incredibly blessed to have had them stumble upon the movie and actually enjoy it. So I can't really say enough awesome things about them, really.
Yeah, they're really great. They're big supporters in the community across the board. So that's really cool. So just tell me a little bit like about your background leading up to you talked a little bit about like, obviously you went to school but what were some other things like project wise that you may have done, like just kind of leading into, like full-length film?
Yeah, definitely. I guess I can go really far back in time.
It's up to you. Whatever you think makes sense.
I was the kid like watching the Power Rangers and the Disney movies on repeat, over and over again until like the VHS tape burnt out, and like I would be memorizing the scripts basically and the songs, and then later on when we got our first computer with the web camera, I was like doing skits with my friends, and we were like little kids, like 8, 9 years old, and and as we progressed, my parents got like one of those VHS cameras, or it was like, I guess, mini DV. That part's not important, but it was to film family events, and I just took it to do my own projects with. So I can go back, like I've been doing this my whole life. I always say that if like there was a zombie apocalypse, I would be one of the first to die because my only skill is filming things, and that's all I know how to do. That's all I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah. So this is your first feature-length film.
Yes.
Have you done any shorts or worked on shorts?
Oh yeah. We've done a lot of shorts. That's the most thing we've done. We did a short film called Loose. in 2010. That won a really good, nice award in New York City, the Directors Guild of America Award for a short film. We also, I mean, man, we've done so many. We did one called The Cardboard King. The Cardboard King was a short film based loosely on my stepfather's life. You know, when he came from Cuba, he had no other way of making money except for collecting cardboard and selling it, like to recycle.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he like eventually was able to save up and buy a pickup truck, and then like he was using that money to try to get his family from Cuba to Miami.
Yeah.
And so he would always say he was the cardboard king. And that's like a really nice short film, and that one did really well in the festival circuit as well.
Yeah.
And we've done quite a few short films, but this is our feature film. This is what we were striving to do, me and Manny. When I say we, like I'm talking about my co-writer Manny Delgadillo, amazing friend of mine and collaborator, co-conspirator in making these movies and getting the ideas together and just really trying to live out the dream as much as we can, you know.
Yeah, that's right. So because you co-wrote this together and then you directed it.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, and I've said this over and over again, whenever you're on an indie film, you're wearing so many hats. So, I mean, I'm wearing the director hat. I'm wearing the DP. I was the DP. Like I was holding the camera the whole time. I'm the editor of the movie, you know?
Yeah, everything.
I almost had to act in the movie. No. The movie was going to be like a selfie. Like, I'm just like,
right.
But yeah, it's one of those things. And I mean, we shot it in such a short period of time as well. We only had 9 days. We had a budget to film for 9 days. That's it, which is incredibly short for a feature film.
9 days?
Yeah. Stanley Kubrick would take 9 days on a scene. And somehow we were able to pull it off. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, Angel, it was a doozy.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people ask me, how do you film a movie in 9 days? My answer is always, just don't sleep. You know,
just stay awake for the 9 days.
16, 18-hour days. You know, and kind of like a difficult environment. We're filming south of Miami in the summer, 100% humidity the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Like, as you saw, most of the movie takes place outside.
Yep.
So it was not the easiest. I mean, it was better than being in Antarctica. You know, I want to be grateful. I could have been like in a way worse place, but it was also not the most comfortable either. But everybody was such a trooper. All the actors.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Camila, who plays Elisa, she was just so cool about it. And we had no divas on set. Everybody was.
Oh, that's good.
Like literally, everybody came together and put all the discomfort to the side and just wanted to make the movie. That's it. Like, what an environment, right? Where you had no egos. We all just wanted, like I always say that whenever you are making a film, it's got to be like your baby.
Yeah.
And you got to do whatever you can to make sure that baby gets the nutrition that it needs,
right?
The exercise that it needs, whatever the baby needs.
It is.
Get. Yeah, and that's how it felt. Everybody wanted to feed the baby, and
that's great, especially for it being the first time you're doing like a feature length film. Because I've done conversations with people who have done just shorts, and that's like a completely different experience. And then but I always hear like the like you talked about, the journey is so important when you're doing your first feature length. And it's so funny hearing like how everyone that has gone through this process, it's different for everybody. You know, there's some people that have like a ton of obstacles. There's some people that, you know, there's always probably something that comes up, but that have a little bit easier of a time. Like, did you have a lot of complications? So when did you film this? Let me back up. When was this done?
So I'm glad you asked that question, Angel, because we definitely had a lot of setbacks, but I'll answer the question first. Yeah. We filmed this at the end of 2019. So literally just before COVID.
Okay. That's why I was asking. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So actually for us, we were already in post-production when COVID happened. And so then now we're stuck at home. Nobody can do anything. And it became like a blessing in disguise for us because I was able to take that time as the editor and really spend a lot of time figuring out what works, what doesn't work, watching the film over and over again, 2-3 times a day, just to sort of engulf myself in this. And in a way, by getting so involved obsessively with the edit, I was able to sort of, it's weird, but disconnect from my darlings. Disconnect from being on set, disconnect from being a co-writer. I was now just the editor, and I almost just forgot that I did anything else before, because you become emotional to some scenes. Like, hey man, we did a lot of sweating to get that scene, and we spent like a lot of money to do this. I can't cut it. But no, as the editor, like, well, if it doesn't make sense, it's out.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And so going back to the other part of the question is obstacles, right? So sure, we had no egos on set and everybody got along, but that does not mean that we didn't have obstacles. We were bombarded, Angel. Have you heard of Murphy's Law?
Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Will go wrong. And that was so true. I mean, I'm just gonna start like naming things.
Okay, go. I'm listening.
3 days before we start filming, our car that has a bunch of our filming gear gets robbed. Like, the car doesn't get robbed, but like they go in the car and they take our gear. So just like 3 days before we starting to film, we have like gear that is missing. So we can't even we have to like go to our producer, ask for more money so we can buy things last minute. We were too deep. Like at this point, like we can't like. One of our actors, I won't say who, was arrested the night before we were meant to start shooting. That was crazy, right? Like for something super stupid. And I won't get into it too much. I'll let them discuss it when they're on a podcast someday. The truck on the first morning, we're supposed to arrive to set. I think it was like 8 or 9 in the morning. The truck breaks down. So the truck with all the gear, we had to like unload the truck and put it in 3 cars. I mean, like, just to get started,
that's not even like in.
We haven't even started filming, So it's crazy. But then like I kind of like took this attitude where I was like, there's something going on here. Something I don't quite understand. And it's kind of exciting because it almost felt like birthing pains. When you're about to have a baby, it's not easy. It's painful. And I mean, I know you know about this. But it's not an easy thing. And that's kind of like what I felt was happening. Like, man, I think we're having birthing pains. Like, we are about to give birth to something really good. And I can't get I can't get like downtrodden about all of these things, because it's very easy when you have all of these things happening to like be like
one right after the other.
But we're like, you know what? We got to take this as a positive. All these things, the universe is throwing these obstacles to see if we are worthy, if we can take on this challenge, and that's the perspective we took. And there's so many more. I mean, like, just off the top of my head, so the hotel we were staying, so it's kind of far from Miami, about like an hour away. So we all stayed in a hotel.
Okay.
We all had to be on set 18 hours, like I said, 16, 18 hours some days. So at night, part of my responsibilities was to back up all the footage that we shot for the day. So I was getting like 3 hours of sleep. And so like when I like getting like that little bit of time just to rest, like one of the days there was like a fire alarm and ghosts and all sorts of interesting things happening around here in my house. So we were like, our sleep was cut. I mean, it's just, I can go on and on. I was telling Manny, man, we should just write like a book about like all the crazy
the
things
problem, like the things that came up.
Yeah, to encourage other independent filmmakers, like, yo, guys, ladies, we are gonna have issues when we're making a film, and that's part of it.
Yeah, I think like it's crazy that you could even have that perspective because like I'm not one of the I'm not a very like can't like a lot of times I'm not that in situations. I'm normally like the pessimist or the like the one that's like, oh, like this is the so that's amazing that you could even turn it because especially with this project being so important and then having to overcome so many things just before you even get like your feet in the ground, like that's insane.
Definitely. I mean, even before we had like when we wrote this script, we didn't even know how we were gonna make it. We had no like money. We just like we're just gonna bootstrap it. We're gonna figure it out. Who knows how long it's gonna take us to film? And because I want to say, sure, there were a lot of challenges, but then there were a lot of serendipitous, amazing things that happened too. Where like, so part of like what I do in my life is other kinds of videos. So I do a lot of music videos and stuff like that. I get hired to do a music video, direct a music video for this up and coming artist. And he is such a cool guy. His name is Cindo Santos. And when we finish filming his video, we're out at dinner and he tells me, what are you working on next? And I tell him, well, we're working on a movie called The Welder. But really, we didn't really have anything planned for like when we were going to shoot it or anything. We had a script, but that's all we really had. And he tells me, a welder? My father was a welder. I want to invest in that. And he becomes our executive producer. And he is basically the guy who funded the whole movie. So it was like serendipitous. Like we had
like meant to be.
Yeah, and he just kind of popped out of nowhere, and he actually sent me a photo, of, like nice and black and white photo of his dad, like working on a skyscraper in New York because they were immigrants from Portugal, and he worked on a skyscraper as a welder. And I was like, wow, like this is nuts.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And not only that, like just a lot of other things. For example, when we're filming the very first scene of the movie, which is a scene where it's raining. That's okay. So we filmed that on the last day.
Oh, okay.
Production, but that day it was raining, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to match. Okay, I gotta go back. So the first day that we filmed the dream sequence.
Okay.
And that day it started to rain.
Okay.
So we're like, man, it would be great if we can fake some rain to go with what we just shot. And again, we didn't plan this. Serendipity. The last day when we're filming that one scene in the house, it starts to rain. And we're just like, it cuts together and it was shot on the two
completely different days.
Like, how did that happen? I don't know. Angel, I don't know. Maybe I'm into it too much. Maybe I'm just trying to see things that aren't actually there, but it just seems like there's some voodoo going on here, something the good voodoo, or I don't know. God is then extending his hand to us. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of cool things happened on set. I'm blabbering now. I'm sorry, Angel. I'm just like talking and talking. You can tell me to shut up.
That's the point. No, the point is for you to talk. No, this is great. I was gonna ask, like, how did you like? Because I didn't want to read the one that's like on IMDb or whatever. But like, what would you like? What's your synopsis of this for people that obviously don't know what it is yet?
Yeah. But not going by the IMDb. I guess it's hard because I wrote that. So.
You did? Oh, I didn't know. I don't know who writes those things because sometimes they're like not like. I could read the one from IMDb. I just was trying to not read something if somebody else wrote it. I already have it up.
It was either me or Manny. It was, or we wrote it together or something like. It's it's without giving too much away. I think what we say on there is it's a mixed race couple go on a vacation
Yeah.
and they find themselves fighting for their lives while a maniac the doctor is
Yep.
trying to experiment on them, basically.
Yeah. To cure racism.
To cure racism. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's pretty close.
yeah, 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 something like
I
that.
didn't know. I never know who writes the descriptions on there, and so I didn't know if it was like somebody just randomly went on and like wrote their own interpretation. I just didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think in general, people are allowed to go in and make changes
I
and
think
do
so
tweaks.
too. Yeah. It's kind of like Wikipedia used to be or still is. I'm not sure if it still is, but
Yeah,
yeah. So you let me do a screener for this. So I was able to see it early. So thank
yeah,
you for doing that. I
yeah, my
so
pleasure.
I watched I had it for a long time. So I revisited because I watched it back when we originally talked before we had a release date. and
Right, right.
and so but yeah, I will say this because we're not going to do any like spoilers or anything like that. But I will say that, I didn't look up anything about this, right? Like when I went in to watch it, I went in as blind as I could. The only thing I knew was the way that it looked on the cover and the title, and that was really it. So going into it, I really think this worked out in my favor because all of the things that unfold came as a surprise to me because I had no idea what was coming. And
I
I
love that.
yeah, like it's like in a good, like it was a good experience because sometimes when you look into films things get ruined, right?
Yeah,
So but I did want to say like the social commentary in this is beautifully written. It's very well done, because it kind of toes this line between like there's obvious very in your face conversations about what is going on, but then there's also some subtlety things too. But I thought that like that the subject matter of like this idea that you can cure racism by doing these things was really unique. And I just wanted to ask if like whatever you're able to share without giving too much away, like where did this idea stem from? Like where did that come from?
well, it actually, I mean, I think that we wanted to tell a story that had a message.
Yeah.
We feel over the years, we've seen hundreds or thousands of horror films
Yep.
between Manny and myself,
Yeah.
and there are some that do have like social messages, like Get
Yeah.
Out, for example, or I mean, there's a few out there, but it's not really like done often enough, and I feel like horror has been relegated to just, which is great, but it's just like been relegated to just pure entertainment for entertainment's sake.
Yeah.
And there's a place for that. Don't get
Sure.
me wrong. I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Like,
Super fun movie. Yeah.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
much fun and I dig it.
Yeah.
But why can't we have social commentary in horror films
Yeah.
more often? I don't know
Yeah.
why not. So that's kind of like where we stood on that. And
Okay.
of course, we are talking about racism.
Yep.
We're talking about women in the military.
Yep.
We're talking about grief
Hmm.
and PTSD. And there's a lot of these issues, a lot in a 86-minute movie.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. No, there is. Yeah. Yeah.
but we like you said, we're towing the line. We're like trying to do a movie that had a message,
Yeah.
that the message was clear, but it wasn't like
Right.
we didn't want it to be so preachy either. So,
No.
so
Yeah.
we tried to balance it as best as we could. And let me tell you, that's a harder job to
I
do
can
than
I
one would
can't even
expect.
imagine. Yeah. Well, and I think you accomplished it though, because I think that, the things that make you like the moments I think that I was supposed to be thinking on a deeper level, or the things that are supposed to make me uncomfortable or uneasy, like I'm fairly confident that the moments I'm supposed to feel that way, I did. Because I just like, and again, because it's such a unique concept on top of the statements that we're getting, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that part, because a lot of times, like, there is statement horror, but there are plenty of ones that are supposed to be statement horror, but the message gets lost in translation for me a lot. And so sometimes I always feel like I have to like look up what I was supposed to get out of a movie. And then sometimes it's so much that the horror element is gone. And that happens too, because, you know, there's horror in these social situations and these things that we see in everyday real life. But the other side of that horror piece is missing because it's so focused. And this is like, I felt like dead center for both parts. Like I felt like I got the message, you know, loud and clear, but it still had these like organic horror moments that still worked as horror moments like do in other films without messages. So I knew what was going on the whole time. So I definitely think like the balance was nailed.
Angel, thank you for that, because that was so hard to do. And
I can't imagine.
We really wanted to try to nail that because it was, it's like, just, you said it, you expressed it exactly. I mean, I want to go back, watch this, and then like write it down so that I can tell people exactly what you said, because that was perfect. That's exactly it right there. You nailed it on the head, but like dead center.
Yeah. And I think like what was the other thing I was going to comment? Oh, the other thing was I felt like, and this, I don't know how this is going to affect different types of viewers, but as a female watching this story and learning more about, is it Camilla? Is that her?
Yeah,
is that
Camilla.
Her name? Camilla. She's phenomenal. She's fantastic. I loved her performance. I thought she did a great job. She was even in the very beginning of the film, before I even knew what was really going on, I was invested in her, like right off the bat, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do. And usually especially unless it's like a kind of a mindless horror film, if it's something that's supposed to be serious, if I can't be invested in the people that I'm watching, it makes it harder for me to care about everything else. But I was invested in her from the very beginning, and watching it as a female, it definitely struck chords with me differently throughout as she's going through different things through the film. So I wanted to say that too, that I thought that those elements with her and her journey specifically were just really like, they really got to me like on an emotional level. So I thought that was really well done too.
Thank you, Angel. Yeah, she was phenomenal. I loved working with Camila. She's so like so much of a perfectionist. In her craft. I mean, she shows up with a binder with the script, and like all her scenes are like highlighted, and then she has she goes on Google and she like gets reference photos and like to see how she's supposed to feel, and then like she puts on a headset and she listens to the music that she's like that'll get her into the zone. I mean, she's so good. She's so pro. You know, this girl's going places, and I get the bragging rights of saying that I was
like
her as the lead in a feature film. So
and the guy Vincent that played Godwin, he was like, from the first time we meet him, I was like, oh, he's so unsettling, but in such a normal, like non-forced way. Like he played that role like so well. I was gonna ask, like, when you're getting the casting part, like how does that work? Like, how did you find the people that made this kind of like come to life?
Definitely. That's a great question. Vincent was a friend of mine for a long time. We worked on a vampire pilot, which never came out, but was really cool. It was a really great concept. But we met there and we hit it off, and we just stayed in contact. And he would always say, hey, whenever you're doing something else, you know, think about me. And so when we're writing this movie, we're like, man, Vincent would be great as Godwin. The thing also about Vince is that he had played in a lot of family movies. He's been in like a bunch of Christmas movies and like
like Hallmark type movies.
Yeah, and like there's like this one thing, Bernie the Dolphin. He was in that, and like so he's used to playing like this really clean cut guy. Like, he's always like the dad, and so then putting him in a horror film was like a huge transition for him, because it was, now he had to be gritty and dirty and weird. Yeah. So, but then he still like maintained some of that like cleanness.
I was going to say, yes.
Because he wasn't like dirty or anything.
No, He was somebody you wanted to trust, even if you
Yeah.
weren't sure that you should. Like, there was definitely like like, you're like, okay, this guy's weird, but he looks like he's probably fine. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
definitely like a balance there. Yeah.
And
He
it
was
was hard to
great.
get him to get to that middle point because,
Oh,
there's always the temptation to go too weird or too normal,
I can
right?
see that. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think he hit his stride and he was able to really give a performance that is unsettling, but also throughout it fluctuates. Like there's moments where you
Yeah.
realize maybe he's not so bad, and then other
Yeah.
moments where you're like, man, this guy is completely screwed up.
No, you're right. Because there's moments where you feel bad about the things that have happened that have led him down this path that he's kind of on and this way of thinking. And then at the same time, you're like, you can kind of get behind the message, but like maybe
Yeah,
not like this. Like there
right,
are
right,
moments where you do kind of find yourself like sympathizing with him, even though he's essentially our villain. Like it
right.
is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I know what you mean. Because there are times where you're just like, oh, and then you're like, oh, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go back and forth.
definitely,
That's very true.
yeah. His character, he's the villain, right? So
Yeah.
I wanted to give him a backstory. I didn't want him to be one dimensional. He needed to
Yeah.
have, like there needed to be a reason why he's doing what he's doing. And even if the reason that we show in the film, for some, they might see it as, well, maybe that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
At the same time, everybody has their tipping point, right?
That's true.
And I believe also that um, what was really important is for Vincent to portray Godwin as somebody who is definitely the villain,
Mhm.
is not one dimensional,
Mhm.
but is still the villain. We need to, at the end, hate him so
Yeah.
that we can sympathize with our protagonist, Elisa, played by Camila.
Yeah.
So that was another, let me tell you, I learned so much. I like when I make my next film,
Mhm.
I have so much experience to do like an even better. I mean, just like
Yeah.
I'm just what I'm telling you, it's the journey. The journey has
Yeah.
been so educational for me.
Yeah. No, he was great. And he was actually one of the one of the mentions that Scott had when he had originally told me how he felt about the movie. And that was like specifically was one of the things where he was like that character is really like really strong. Like you're gonna really and I think like yeah, and I think just in general, everyone that we see, like all of the characters, like bring something very different.
Yeah,
But I thought it was also really unique because like you're talking about like the character of Godwin not being one dimensional, but neither is the story
yeah,
because there's layers that take until almost the end of the film to really understand like
right.
what happened because we just get the clips here and there of like what's going on. And I did message Scott and I was like, there's a specific reveal towards the end that he said he got from the beginning and I was like, I didn't, which I won't dive too much into because
Yeah,
I'd rather I want people to go see this and see these things and feel them for themselves. But
yeah,
there's something specific about what is going on with Elisa's character, and
yeah,
then I didn't make the connection of what happened to her, and so then when it revealed it much later, it almost hit me harder because there's clues throughout. Which when I went back and thought about it, I was like, okay, but
yeah.
I didn't know, and so
Right.
when that happened, I was like, okay, like it just all of those layers unfolding as the
Yeah,
film goes on. It's like a really smart buildup because
yeah,
we take the time in the first or majority of the film to get used to these characters
right.
and this slow kind of burn into like what is going to happen, where is this coming from, what actually went down, and then as it unfolds, it's like it just seems so seamless, like
Mhm.
as far as the story goes, because there's plenty of times where films are slow burns and then the ends aren't worth the slow burn. You're like,
Right.
okay, well,
And I hate that. Oh my
I hate
goodness.
that. I'm the same way. It makes me so frustrated as a viewer because then I'm
Yeah.
like, we just sat through all of this arc and I'm thinking, okay, we're building up to something that's just going to blow my mind and
Yeah.
I'm going to love this. But I didn't feel frustrated at the end of this. I felt very satisfied. I felt it was very gratifying to get to that, to get through all of those things things. And
Right.
to see it end the way that it did, it made me feel really good about it. Like I didn't walk away feeling like I was missing anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
That's like, to me, like the climax needs to be,
Yeah.
and I think that's something I'm gonna take with me into my next films. I mean, if I
Yeah.
really wanna, I love the slow burn where you learn about the characters, their backstories,
Yeah.
what they're dealing with, and it just doesn't quite make full sense as a
Mhm.
viewer
Yeah.
until you get that
So
revelatory
true.
climax where you're like,
Mhm.
oh, now this is being answered, that's being answered, this
And
is
it
being
comes
answered, that's being
together.
answered. And then you're like, no way. And then once it's all said and done, you're like, well, where can it go from here? But there's
Yes.
still a little bit more.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, because I would say too, in regards to the ending, which obviously I won't say what it is, but the ending is not what I would have expected from a film like this. I definitely would have thought it was going to go in just a very different way. And so I loved that though, like because I like there are things there I talk about. I'm trying to think of how I can say without saying too much. Like the way that that goes, I want so much more like that. I want more movies that go in that direction instead of the other one.
Yeah.
And so like when it happened, I was like, no way. Like, am I finally gonna have like this moment where like, and I loved it, but it's yeah, this was something that was a slow burn that I felt like it was more than the payoff was up there. Like I really felt like it paid off. And it was worth the investment of the time and emotion and paying attention and getting into these characters and just feeling unsettled with them and trying to figure out what's actually going on. I mean, it just, yeah, the payoff was really high. So I really liked the ending too.
Thank you, Angel. Yeah, that was also like we had some alternate endings that we were playing with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we felt that this was we felt this was the strongest way to go to do justice to her emotional journey
I loved it.
and
Yeah.
have her come like sort of like full circle in, or like anti full circle. I mean, it's weird, right?
Yes.
Where she ends up
Yes.
unexpected
But I loved it.
completely, but at the same time, if you really like pay attention throughout the whole thing, you were like, man, that's the only way it could have ended
It
for
could
her.
have. That's the only thing that made sense.
Yeah.
And that's probably plays into one of the other reasons that I liked it so much is because it really did feel like it made sense. It wasn't out of place, like a forced kind of idea. It really
She
did
didn't like
feel
run away and join the circus at the end or anything like that, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's weird. It's not what you would expect, but at the same time, it makes sense.
Yeah. It's not with you that's perfect. It's like you don't see it coming, but it also like what else could there be? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really liked it. So the release date on this is the 24th.
24th of February. We're going to be
Yeah.
releasing digitally worldwide, and we're going to be on Amazon, Tubi, and a few other platforms.
Okay.
So we're really excited for that. This film has been cooking for a long time, and I am just so incredibly happy that it's gonna finally be out and people can watch it. And whether they love it or they hate it, I just want people to see it so they can make their mind up for themselves.
Yeah. But I think we need something unique like this because we're kind of in this weird horror trend with like reboots and continuations and remakes and it's like some of them turn out okay, some of them turn out not okay, and it's just been this kind of same stuff. And I think the only real like breath of fresh air we're getting right now is coming from indie horror, which thankfully people are finally like putting the energy into, because it's been like, when 2022 was wrapping up, when I was getting ready to do like my top 10 for the year, a lot of the movies in consideration for that list were indie films, and some of the big players didn't make it. Like, and I love that we're kind of in the horror community is like just branching out, and giving new filmmakers, or in this case, at least ones that were able to finally do their full, their feature-length film, and like giving them the opportunity and the attention that they deserve. Because I feel like you walk away from an indie film feeling so different than you do when you go see some giant production, that was that's like the fifth installment in a franchise that you thought died 20 years ago or whatever. But so yeah, I think so when this episode goes live, so it'll be this Friday, the 24th, that that the Welder will be out. So this will go out a few days before to hopefully help kind of promote it and get people looking into it. But yeah, I think people who have a respect for the genre, who genuinely love it, they're going to appreciate how unique this film is. Even if they decide some other things are not for them, I think like it's just so new and different. And that was so refreshing. Oh, and I was going to compliment this too. So I was kind of in denial for a while about my like love for gore. And like, I was like, oh, I don't know about gore, but the gore in this, by the way, is done really, really well. Like, not only was it believable, but it wasn't like too much. It didn't feel like it was missing anything. It was like just like the right amount of like, you know, so it was really, really well done. And I did want to ask, like, because some of the scenes are gruesome, like,
Sure.
were those hard to do, like to make look that good? Because they look really good.
Yeah, no, let me tell you, we had a team of 2. These guys are amazing. They're from Miami.
Cool. Okay.
Tony and Emilio. And that's how I have them on in my phone as Emilio with like 10 O's at the end. These guys are just like artists. Like Emilio has been painting. He's like a savant. Like when it comes to painting, he actually painted this on a canvas, which is the Vesuvian Man as the Welder. Yeah, this is our little T-shirt that we have here.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
Love
and
it.
yeah, and him and Tony are just these special effects, self-taught gurus, and I found them. I forget how I linked up with them, but Tony invited me over to his house, and in his garage, he has it. It's literally like a museum of latex body parts. It's amazing. Heads, arms, legs, everything. Fat legs, skinny legs.
Yeah.
You know, he takes casts. He takes molds from his friends and stuff like that. And it's just he does a lot of Halloween haunted houses and stuff. So he's got an I mean, he was just fantastic. And him and Emilio put it all together. And of course, when you're on set, it doesn't look as cool as it does like the final thing, right? Because it's all about playing with the lighting and playing with the angles and all this. But for me, that was really important. I've seen too many horror films where the gore just looks so fake, like, and it just looks terrible. And I just didn't really want to do that. And although we were low budget, I didn't want to be low quality. I wanted to make sure it looked primo as we could possibly do practically, because obviously we didn't do this with visual effects. This was all done with latex and fake blood. And you know, we did have to cut some guy's leg off, but we won't get into that. No, it was just
one. It was just one leg.
One. We have 2. We don't. You know, God gave us a spare, so
he
made a sacrifice for the movie. But yeah, no, that was really important to me, and these guys just knocked it out of the park. So happy to have had them on board.
Yeah, I think the gore is really, really well done. And I think it's interesting because I say this a lot about plenty of other movies too, but I feel like it was like the moments were chosen so carefully for there to be gore. Because it's definitely, you know, it's not like watching, you know, like Saw from beginning to end or something to that effect, but it's like these moments were chosen in such a way that you get used to it not being there, and then it's like there, which of course makes it more effective, but it did look really good. Like it looked really, really good.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you. And then you hit it again, nail on the head right there, because we wanted those moments to be as powerful as possible. So we did choose very carefully where we wanted it and how much we wanted to show, because I believe that less is more when it comes to that kind of thing. You can't like when you have a film where it's just like gore, like you become desensitized to it.
You do. And you get used to seeing it. It's just there.
It's just there. So it's not like as impactful. And hey, you know, we were an indie production. We had to, all of our tools that we had at our disposal, we needed to maximize them as much as we possibly could. And I think at the end it helped the film.
Yeah, and I'm still thinking like now, because now that I'm thinking about, especially like the third act of this film, I'm still thinking I'm like 9 days. Like I can't even imagine like, accomplishing what was accomplished in that short amount of time. So yeah,
9 days, Angel.
bravo! Like
it's all a blur now. It's just like it was so intense, but it was like it's like one of those like short-lived but passionate relationships you have when you're like really young, and like you're always fighting, but like you're also like super passionate with each other.
I know it's and
it's
yeah.
And then when it's over, you're like, man, what the heck was that? And but you know, in this case, we get a movie out of it, so which is great.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
great. It was an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world, and I think everybody that was on set would say the same thing. It was just like this unique moment in time where we were able to all put our heads together and do something that we all really cared about, you know.
Yeah. So are you going to do anything fun for release day?
So we're trying to organize a Q&A or a screening, maybe.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For release day.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping to do if we can solidify a venue. We have Miami-Dade
Okay.
Film Commission trying to help us out with that. And
that'd be cool.
our goal is to try to, you know, get a little group together and just sort of use that to help promote the film. But if it falls through, I'm open to suggestions. Like, help me out here. What should we do? Like, I will take a poll. We want to do something. We just don't know what. If that falls through, that's our plan A. We don't have a plan B. So plan B.
Well, I hope it works out, because that would be really cool for you to be able to do it that way. Yeah.
It would be. I mean, I think that would be fantastic. Or like even do something like online where we get like go live and try to get some people on there and just sort of say, hey guys, you know, like get the crew, the cast, like everybody from the cast. But like that's the thing, people won't have seen the film yet. So I think that we will do that for sure at some point.
Maybe like
down the line when people have seen the film and
that's a good idea.
Questions. Yeah, get everybody together and do like an online thing, or people, you know, viewers can, audience members can watch and ask questions to the actors and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, because like you said, by then people have seen it. They can. I think that'd be a really cool way to interact with viewers. Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. I'm going to put all of David's information, as well as I know there's a Welder on Instagram.
Yes.
Is it just Instagram though?
So we're on Instagram, which is at the Welder Film. Mm-hmm. Then we're on, we have a website, www.thewelderfilm.com.
Okay.
And if you want to follow me directly and see what else I'm working on, you can follow me at David Liz Films.
Yep.
And that's on Instagram. But really, guys, go on the Instagram for the Welder and, you know, check it out. You'll see the trailer on there.
Yep.
You'll see updates. Because the film, now that it's going to enter its the distributor, it's going to now that it's entering the stage, is what I'm trying to say. It's going to live on a couple of platforms for a few months, and then it's going to change platforms. So it's kind of like part of the distribution process.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I've learned so much about distribution in this.
I bet.
All filmmakers, anybody interested in making movies, learn about distribution, because it has nothing. I mean, I'm the guy that wants to tell the story. I'm the guy that wants to like be on set and you know, be in the edit room. But distributing is its own animal. It has nothing to do with story. It has nothing. It's
right.
I put my hands up, like I surrender. Somebody else take over. It's its own thing. So, but a lot of twists and turns and interesting things to learn about distribution. But yeah, that's one of the things that, so keep connected with us, stay connected with us on Instagram.
Yeah.
So that we can keep you updated on what's happening, where it's, gonna live next. But for now, I know Amazon, Tubi, and a few other platforms, and those other platforms we will reveal as we get closer to the release date.
Yeah.
I reveal them now, but I just don't know them. I right now, like as a person that has given my movie up to the distributor, I'm like kept in the dark.
Oh, wow.
As well, I not fully, but to a certain degree, I don't know everything they're doing. So I wish I knew more about where else, but for sure Amazon, Tubi, and to be determined where else.
Okay. Well, and I'm going to put all of the social media stuff and the links in the description for this episode so people will be able to find it too. Tubi is another one that I feel like has really helped kind of elevate indie films to like get it out to people. Like I started watching Tubi because that's like where all of the found footage movies live. And that's like my favorite subgenre. So I started out, but then I was like, there is so much horror on Tubi. Like it's a lot. So that's good that it's like another platform that people are able to get access to more independent movies and stuff. So
definitely. Awesome. And Shudder is another good one.
Yeah, Shudder's fantastic. And then the new one, I don't have this one yet. I will eventually probably have to. I'm a horror channel and I love horror movies, so it's inevitably going to happen. But the other one is a Screambox. I don't have that one yet, but that's another newer one that just came out.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Screambox, huh?
Screambox. I think it's like $5 a month or something. That's the one that Terrifier 2 went straight to when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah. But I didn't have it. So I mean, I wasn't super interested in Terrifier 2, but either way, like that's where it went.
No, that's gore right there.
Yeah.
That's the kind of gore that like you get used to it.
Yeah, because it's so excessive. It's so much. Yeah.
I give credit to those guys because they really were able to do a grassroots marketing campaign that allowed them to really blow up. So although I'm not the biggest fan of gore, that kind of gore,
that level,
I like, I give it up to them. They really killed it and did such a great job promoting that film and getting it out there. I mean, there were Terrifier costumes at Spirit Halloween this past year. Yeah. So that says it all.
Yeah, and Terrifier 2 broke all kinds of stuff in the box office, especially for it to be, I mean, it's an indie film. I think because it was so big, people forget that, but I mean, it's an indie film. It came from an indie film there, and there's multiple, but but Screambox is just the newest one that like I said, I don't have that one yet because I was trying to kind of feel out how clunky it was going to be, if it was going to be worth it. Because I mean, Shudder kind of took the reins on that for right now. But it's been around for a little while now. People are starting to kind of jump on board. I've heard good things, so that's another one that we'll see what it does.
I gotta check it out. Yeah, I might just as soon as I hang up here, go check it out because I'm interested. I want to see what else is out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Well,
yeah, Angel, thank you so much. I mean,
absolutely. Thanks for making time. This was, I really appreciate letting me watch it early too, because I really did enjoy it. And it checked a lot of boxes for me that I just felt like I said, we've been recycling the same stuff over and over again. So this is a really unique film. I really think you guys watching, definitely check this one out when it comes out on Friday, the 24th.
Yeah, listen to Angel. She knows what she's talking about. Make sure you watch it on Friday or on the weekends.
Yes.
And enjoy it, and then come and leave a comment on our Instagrams telling us.
Do it. Yeah, check them out. Yeah, all that stuff, like I said before, is going to be in the description for this episode. So, well, cool. Well, thanks, David. This was a great conversation. This was. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm excited to see what happens when it comes out for sure.
Thank you, Angel. I appreciate that, and thank you for having me on your show. Thank you for allowing me to share my stories about the film with your audience. Thank you to the audience for listening. And yeah, man, I'm just so happy to be here.
No, this was great. Yeah, I'm glad Scott connected us and we were able to make it work. So this was really
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, Scott, you're the best. And Scott and I don't typically agree on movies. Typically, like we have like this thing where it's like he hates something, I love something, and like, and we definitely both appreciated different things about this film, but for us to both like it, whew, that's strange.
All right. Hey. I'm gonna let Camila and Manny and Vincent know, because they're gonna, and everyone else, you know, because they're gonna love that. They're gonna love that. That's
it's like it's a big
soundbite right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Definitely check out The Welder again. That'll be out this coming Friday by the time this episode goes out on the 24th. There's going to be links in socials. Go follow, pay attention to this film and to David, see what else he's going to be up to, and have a good rest of your week. And we will see you in the next one.